Hey, how's it going? I'm going to be painting my first kill team, the Orc Commandos. That's spelled with a K, like combat in Mortal Kombat. I have 5 of these teams I'm painting. I'm color coding them specifically so that when I teach new players how to play the game, the kill teams have distinct colors. And I also want to paint them bright so they pop out and stand off on the board. I normally like to paint like dark, like kind of dark, realistic or gritty looking miniatures. But they tend to blend into the background and stuff. So the sound in video is working. Thank you, Malachi. How have you been today? How has work and school been going? Right. I just made a few videos about the kill teams and I'm uploading those at the same time. But all right, let me switch my camera over. Let's see, wide. There we go. Okay. And I actually moved my chat so I can see chat. All right. I'm going green on this guy and I'm gonna go green on a bunch of them. Malachi, do you ever paint miniatures, or have you ever painted miniatures? I tend to enjoy it. I actually like doing it. I don't think I like doing it repetitively though. So like when you're painting the same kind of miniature over and over and over again, that tends to get a little dull. Not dull's the wrong word. I guess just repetitive, Let's see. Just got this set up in this area yesterday. That's right, you did. What are the miniatures that you have focused on painting? Oh no, that's right. You did. You showed us on your camera. That's right. I forgot. My goal is to try and get Bishop to become interested in playing Kill Team. Let me see. Let me keep this. I want it to be here. Well, let's go that way with it, I guess. Yeah, we liked Marvel Crisis Protocol for quite a while, and it was a pretty fun game. I've kind of lost interest in Atomic Mass Games' version of a war game, and it's not like lack of characters. I think some of it's just a mix of stuff. I made a video about it a few days ago, but I guess each time I get into one of these hobbies, I kind of go over and above, I don't know if you ever tend to do that, but I get like, I don't want to say aggressive, that's not quite right, but like I get eager, and especially like when Bishop first started liking Marvel Crisis Protocol, I was like, oh wow, we've got like this new thing we can do together and it's really fun. So I found like a bunch of sales on Amazon. Whoops. Basically just picked up miniatures whenever we could and have a whole collection of Marvel Crisis Protocol guys. See, I want to finish a batch of 40k orcs. I started last time I painted. Okay, how long ago was it that you were painting the 40k orcs? I have a bunch of Age of Sigmar miniatures that I picked up. The ones I plan on finishing to try and use in a game with Riker, and I like those because they're actually really big miniatures. Like they're easy to see, and like they're pretty sturdy too. Like their size makes them stand out. A lot of these kill team ones are a lot smaller. Like the orcs are actually probably the biggest of them, but a lot of the kill teams are I think they're like just the 28 millimeters. About 4 months ago. Okay. Do you enjoy painting, Malachi? Is it something that like is it a relaxing hobby for you? I tend to find this I find this enjoyable. I didn't think I would. Like when I first started painting miniatures, like I wasn't even trying. I was like, I was certain this wasn't going to be a hobby I enjoyed. I mean, like I was so certain. Like I barely even tried, like painting the initial miniatures that I started with well. But the moment I bought like a Hulk miniature, I was like, you know what? I should at least try, because I spent money on this, so I should kind of try and make this look good. And that was actually the first miniature that I really actually tried to make look nice. So the 28mm range miniatures, they're nice. Like they're obviously good for storage. They're a little smaller. You can get a lot more of them on a smaller board. I think I like the big ones because I know that they're easier for Riker to see. That probably taints my opinion. Yeah, I don't know. I got used to the Marvel Crisis Protocol miniature line, and those are 30, like 35mm. I mean, you can here you can see the difference. Like this is Scarlet Witch versus like an Orc. I mean, like the base is bigger, but then also like the miniatures, you know, I mean, they tend to be large. And I don't know, I think I got used to them that size. And since I got used to them that size, I don't know, like the 28mm ones feel small. Like when I'm about to start painting these kill teams, actually one of the reasons I started with the Orcs is because like I figured it'd be easy, because they're a little bit bigger. The smaller miniatures are, I don't know, they're hard to paint well. You gotta like really be you gotta really be good at painting, and I'm not like that good at painting. I can get paint to go where I want it to, but you know, when it comes to like techniques and stuff, I'm not. My son is pretty good at that stuff. Like he likes learning how to do the lighting and whatnot. Except like right now he's not been painting because he's mostly paying attention to like video games and school and stuff. That's actually one of the reasons I'm doing this. Is my hope is to get him interested in playing a war game again. How did your test go, Malachi? Okay, let's see. So I'm holding it like here, so I should over there a little bit more. I'm going to adjust this. See, the first one went well. The ones I'm more concerned about are tomorrow, back to back. Back to back. Oh wow, same day. Similar to the last one where you're spending like hours on the same questions. It does sound tedious. Let's see. Yeah, got all your skin, right? I'll try and do these in waves. Shorter questions, okay. So I picked up 2 of the starter boxes over the last like year. Like I think I got the first one at the end of last year, and it was the orcs versus the veteran guardsmen. I just never learned to play the game, and since it's hard to get my son to try new games, and it's also hard to get my other friends to try new games, so it makes it difficult for me to motivate myself to learn the game when no one apparently wants to play it. So I picked up that team and just kind of sat on it for a while, and then I saw the 2024 version of the game was coming out, and there was a few things about the 2024 version that seemed really interesting, like the multiplayer and then like the single player. They updated a bunch of the rules, so there was a lot of not integration, but there were a lot of things that it seemed that Warhammer had considered, and to me, like, multiplayer was one of the chief things. I do remember your question. I'm just going a long way around to answer it. Yeah, so multiplayer, like being able to play like 3 players or 4 players was a big thing, and we've been trying to play Marvel Crisis Protocol with 3 players for like, I don't know, the last year and a half that we've been playing it, and we just play 3 player, but it's really not fun because the game is not designed for it. So we're kind of doing a thing that doesn't really work well in the game. I picked up the Euclidean Star. The Euclidean. They're kind of weird. Like, they all look like BioShock characters. I picked them up actually first, and I got that box of miniatures because I just liked the way the miniatures looked. They looked really cool, and I thought I was gonna maybe use them in like Dungeons and Dragons as miniatures or something. But I just never opened them, never put them together, and just hung on to them. That is probably the team I'm going to try and teach myself how to play. Although I know, just kind of by looking at their cards and the fact that all the models are kind of unique, I get the idea that they might be a difficult team to play. Like, they might be kind of weird. So that's my goal, is to learn them. But I also want to learn the rest of these teams, and I basically just want to, I'm making 5 teams so that my son and myself and my wife can play, and maybe Bishop's friend Landon would be interested in learning how to play. I like the idea of playing cooperative with someone to teach them how to play the game. That feels a lot better than trying to teach someone the game while you're also beating them up. It's been weird doing that with Marvel Crisis Protocol with people. In fact, any of the war games that I've tried to learn and then tried to teach people, like, I really don't like having to try and beat someone up while teaching them the rules. It feels weird. So yeah. So to answer your question, I think the Euclidean fellows. Although I'm definitely willing to start out with any of the teams that are balanced. So if the veteran guardsmen work well with the orcs, then I will try and learn them and play that against my son. Yeah, so which team I'm gonna paint after this? I think I'm gonna try and go with them in a certain order. I've lined up all the colors I want to put to the teams, and I think the ones that are going to be hardest for me are probably the Blades of Cain, because I'm going to try and paint them pastel with like object source lighting. I was thinking about starting with them, but I'm like, no, I'd rather start with the ones that are probably going to be easiest. So I think the next one I'm going to go with is the Vanguard. The Veteran Guardsmen. Yeah. I think the color pattern that I have for them should also be pretty easy. One of the things about these Warhammer guys I realize, and it's a little different than the Marvel Crisis characters, is I think you're supposed to, I mean, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I think you're supposed to be painting these things in stages while you're building them, because there are like areas that are nearly impossible to get to with paint the way these guys are built. But I've never when I first started building Marvel Crisis Protocol characters, I painted them on the sprues and then cut them off and then started gluing them. And, you know, that was a mess. That was awful. Because, you know, like the glue started spreading everywhere and then the glue was melting the paint and that did not go well. So I was like, okay, I watched tutorial videos and everyone's all like, oh yeah, take them all apart, put them together, paint them. There are some people who do like really fancy painting and they like take the backpack off and paint it separately. But I don't know how they glue them afterwards, because like if you paint it, I don't know, it's just, I am not that advanced in my painting that I figured that out yet. I would love for you to play Frostgrave with me. I have a bunch of Frostgrave miniatures, and I have a lot of tile pieces and stuff. I could just easily build a map. I mean, I guess we could play on like we could play on Tabletop Simulator if they have it there. But yeah, I would like to learn the game, because I think I mentioned last night I want to try and start playing it like in our Dragonbane sessions. Like I want to basically have I want to have like a secondary game mode where my players can play Frostgrave and have it affect our Dragonbane campaign. I'm not sure how well it's going to work, but it is a way to kind of integrate a war game, or like it's hard to get games in the middle of the week in our campaign. Although last night we did it and it was fun, and I really had a good time with that. If that's something that Landon would be interested in doing, I'd be down for it. But so far I've got the idea that maybe it'd be better to actually run like a war game instead of a tabletop RPG multiple times. It's also kind of a nice break for me, because, you know, playing a tabletop RPG with someone, like, it does require some effort on the dungeon master's part that like a war game doesn't. Did any of us watch? Did any of you watch the Warhammer Secret Level episode that came out today? I did not. What is a Warhammer Secret Level? Secret episode. Okay, no, yeah, I have just started getting into Warhammer and don't actually follow the lore yet. Although I have been thinking about it. A friend of mine has been talking up Warhammer lore, telling me how good it is, and it's fun. There's intrigue and all the factions and stuff. So I've been hearing very, very good things about Warhammer lore, but the only thing I have seen on Warhammer lore is the story of the God King. I don't remember his name, but like he meets some dude in a church. That's about all I remember from it. It was a little while ago I saw it. Let's see. Family Tabletop, my advice of 40 years is keeping things simple. Don't try to do uber plots that players will constantly have to ask you to sum up game after game. It will just frustrate you. I assume you're talking about in tabletop RPGs. Yeah, I've been trying to stay pretty simple with my plot lines. I think I understand what you mean. I ran a lot of like, man, when we were doing Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, oh man, I had like I had conspiracies and like factions and organizations and groups that had plans for, global domination and stuff, and it was a lot of work to like prepare for the games and also to get myself ready for the games. I wouldn't say I didn't enjoy it. It was actually still fun for me because I kind of like playing those heady things, but you're right, it is difficult to keep track of. I've rather enjoyed this Dragonbane campaign. Like it was really easy to just jump into the session that we played last night, and I had very little prep time, and my players seemed to enjoyed it. They had stars and wishes and whatnot, and I enjoyed running it. I thought everything went pretty well. So yeah, if my players are interested in doing that on a regular basis, that would be a good way to try and keep them engaged. I love doing things with my son. so that he's not just playing video games. I don't know. I know I have a pretty hard stance about video games for myself, and I can't just apply that to my son as well, because you know he still likes games. But I would prefer if we were doing real stuff. You know, I like the engagement that we have when we do real stuff. It's just really hard to get kids who play video games to like learn new game systems, like new war games, new tabletop RPGs, anything. It's hard to get them into it, because I think from the onset they know it's going to be difficult, and they're not going to get it right away, and the game is not going to hold their hand. So initially I was actually going to try and time myself and see if I could get these all done in 1 hour, and this one guy right here, I took like 5 minutes just doing his arms. Like yeah, I'm probably not like a super speedy painter. I might be a little bit meticulous. That's why I'm like, I'm trying to keep myself moving on it, because I can get really like I can just take a lot of time with it. Here, I'll show you what I painted today. Try not to mess it up. Get it in here. Let's see. Let me move this out of the way. So I painted this. I don't know what she's called, but she's like from Age of Sigmar. And, you know, I wanted a little bit of like object source lighting on her. And I just like the idea of like her wings kind of being rainbow colored, you know? And so I went with it. But that took me probably like, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours or something. These guys, I do not want to spend that kind of time on. I just want to get kill teams ready to go, enough that my son will play with me and maybe my wife as well. My plan is to actually figure out which one of these things my son likes, and then to give him the kill team for Christmas, like fully painted. Not necessarily a gift that he's like looking for, but he's also not really looking for anything. So it's on me to figure out what to give him. I was going to give my wife one of these as well. I know, it's like, that's super romantic. She's also somewhat difficult to shop for. Let's see. Do you lean towards hard or soft magic systems in fantasy? It's a good question. Let's see. If I understand those terms, I would guess that a hard magic system is something like Dungeons and Dragons, and a soft magic system might be something like Shadow Dark or whatever. Or maybe soft magic is Lord of the Rings, and hard magic is the Dungeons and Dragons movie. So I think I like the soft magic. You know, to be honest, I actually kind of like both. I like systems where the magic is kind of obscure and wonky. Or even like just in general fantasy. I like fantasy where the magic is obscure and wonky, and it's kind of like hard to figure out how it works and how it's able to be used. But I also enjoy the magic where it's in, like, for example, I really liked the world of Dragonbane. Not Dragonbane, the world of Dragon Age. Dragon Age as a video game was, I mean, like, that was one of my favorite video game systems. I think they did such a good job with like the world building and the different origins. I mean, I like the first game. I like the second game. It wasn't as good though. And I like Inquisition. I have not played the new Veilguard game. Is it called Veilguard? It is called Veilguard. Okay. It just occurred to me that I named the NPCs in my Dragonbane game the Veilguard. I don't think that was intentional. Anyways, I think that magic system in Dragon Age was actually very interesting, because it was like, hey, there's magic in this world, but like it's kind of against the law, and if you're caught using the magic, you're going to go to this like magical prison or whatever. There's still magic, but it's like you shouldn't be using it. And I thought it was an interesting world, like fantasy world with specifics to how the magic worked, but then also like a lot of parameters to what was allowed. And then like the whole aspect of like people becoming blood mages, that was super cool as well. Let's see. I find soft systems very ripe for players to mook the system. That's a good point. Yeah, I think I understand. I think I understand what you mean. You can, like, Dragonbane, I would probably consider a softer system. It's certainly harder than Shadow Dark, but it is a system where I have to like talk with my players and go like, all right, how are we gonna have this spell or this ability work? Because it's a little bit open in the descriptions of it, so we're gonna have to agree how this one's gonna work in the game. But it also means it's easy to create magical powers. So yeah, I guess I probably would prefer the softer systems if we're talking about tabletop RPGs. I like the systems where players can do really strange and interesting things that aren't like super tethered to like the rules. Those also tend to run a little faster too. Like, I don't like when the system gets bogged down with like, I don't like when the game gets bogged down with a whole bunch of system choices and my players are trying to figure out like, what system choice should we be making right now? Oh, I was about to make this choice, but now that the situation changed in the last minute and a half of the other player's turn, I'm going to need to take, 3 minutes to figure out what I'm doing. And that's a bit of an exaggeration, but there are plenty of times in the crunchy system where, my players just take forever to try and figure out what they want to do. And the more things that they have to do, the more difficult it is for them. So, hard magic is Avatar: The Last Airbender. Interesting. I don't know if I would have considered that for a hard magic system. Okay, so what does hard magic mean? Oh, I see. Hard magic has clearly defined rules. D&D has hard magic rules, but soft magic setting. Interesting. Okay. Dragon Age did a good job with making magic scary and powerful. Yeah, I agree. It was a very interesting lore and world building to the magical setting. I love that entire storyline with the kid in the castle, and the kid is like summoned a demon or something. It's been a long time since I played it, but it is a game I played like multiple times. I think I played all of the Origins. It's been a long time since I played a game that good. Even Inquisition wasn't as good. Like Inquisition was pretty good, but it was not Dragon Age Origins good. I don't think they ever topped it, actually. Let's see. Hard magic is Mistborn. I've not heard of Mistborn. And Full Metal Alchemist. So Full Metal Alchemist is like Harry Potter. Would that mean that Harry Potter is hard magic as well? And I think I get the distinction. It's something where you can clearly define how magic works. Okay, so does that mean in Star Wars the Force would be soft magic because it's like not clearly defined and it's hard to articulate how it works and why it works, and well, okay, once you say that it works on midichlorians, then it becomes a hard magic system or something? You let me know. Let's see. Hard magic, okay, Mistborn, okay. Soft magic is Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter. Okay, so I see. So soft magic. Oh, see, I would have thought Harry Potter would be hard magic because, there's like all these keywords and phrases that you got to use with your wand. Like soft magic is definitely Harry Potter. Interesting. Okay, so, how do you define soft versus hard magic? Like, what are the parameters with which you could, like, if you were to try and make a sentence to give a description or a definition to hard magic versus soft magic, what is it and how does it work so I can understand it? Am I into science or history? Oh, interesting. Okay, is this? I wonder if this is related to the soft magic, hard magic. Okay, I probably, if we're talking about like science fiction versus history, I like science fiction. But if we're talking about like chemistry and biology, I find history more interesting. The idea of science is interesting. The aspects of studying it are not as interesting to me. In that case, I do find the things that happened in the past to be more interesting than science, because science is hard. Or at least science is hard in a way that I'm not particularly good at science. All right, got 5 of these guys done. I think I'm gonna make this guy dark green, as well as the flamethrower guy. All right, let's go with this little dude. He's got some skin. All right, see, hard magic has clearly defined rules it must follow. I see, okay. All right, in Harry Potter, think of a Latin word and weave your wand. I would say that is soft magic. Okay, all right, I can see what you're saying. Do you think these hard magic and soft magic rules always apply to tabletop RPGs? Like, have you ever encountered a tabletop RPG that was neither soft nor hard, or both soft and hard? Like, is it possible to have, I understand the distinction is hard, like clearly defined and not clearly defined versus not clearly defined. Okay, so that means, in my mind, that means that most of the tabletop RPG systems are going to be on some sort of gradation, where they're going to sit somewhere between easy and hard to define. Yeah, I guess I would say I like something in the middle. I like something where you can sort of bend and break the rules a little bit with the game, but where there are rules so that you know what you're breaking or how to break them or something. Dungeons and Dragons was less interesting for me to play, and I think that was because I like the one time that I ended up getting to play a character, I just made like just a monster of a character. I spent like 2 hours meta creating just a beast, and it was fine, it was fun, but I didn't end up like role playing that much. I just kind of destroyed monsters, and that was like the end of it. All right, that guy was fast. Let's see, this guy's got a lot of arms. Let's see, have I ever played a campaign with mature Christians? That is a very interesting question. No, not a campaign. I played a game that someone is developing a few days ago, or maybe a week ago. I don't know, like about a week ago. And I think the majority of players we were playing with were mature Christians. But I wouldn't say it was a full campaign. Although that is a interesting idea, like, you know, I mean, how the game could be shaped by that. I don't really know anyone at my church that plays games like Dungeons and Dragons or even war games. There's one guy I met at my church who plays X-Wing. He might play, I just realized I'm totally out of focus. He might play something like Warhammer as well. Let's see. Tip this up a little higher. But no, I have not. Do you think it makes a significant difference in playing a tabletop RPG with a group of entirely mature Christians? There we go. In premise, I could see how that would be different. Man. It's been nice playing the game with the people that I've met recently. I met a bunch of people on Discord, and we've started playing mostly like new systems that haven't been released yet, like testing them out, play testing them. That's been really fun. I've enjoyed that. But I have not actually played in a regular game with Christians. I mentioned D&D. Players have defined rules. Hard magic. Games Workshop uses soft magic for world building. Interesting. Oh, okay. Players have defined roles. Okay, I see. Oh, I'm sorry. And GMs use soft magic for world building. I got you. Okay. I played a D&D campaign at Bible college, and the stories of redemption were amazing. Wow, how interesting. Joshua, if you're not in my Discord already, or if you're on Discord, I'd appreciate if you just like send me a friend request. I'd be interested to talk with you more about that. I'm trying to reach out to my pastor at my church to see if we could get like a family game night going. My thought was basically to set up tables or something and teach parents how to play Mouse Ritter so that they could play tabletop RPGs with their kids. Yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of parents who do know how to play that type of game, but I also get the sense that most parents aren't doing that. You know, like they maybe play like a board game or something with their kids. And I just thought, you know, it would be a really wonderful experience for parents and families to be able to connect with each other through this hobby. So anyways, I'm planning on meeting with a pastor from my church next year, like starting in January, and hopefully we'll have some time to like go over, I don't know, whatever ministry that they think that might apply towards, or let me know maybe that's not something they're interested in doing. You know, I figure it could go either way. But I have thought about the thing that you're saying. In a sense, yeah, there's a way that you could actually wrap up a lot of the message of the gospel into the stories. You know, you could make the stories be focused on redemption and forgiveness. You know, like so when I was playing Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, I had a really hard time playing the Waterdeep Shadow Heist, whatever it's called, the Water Dragon Shadow, that stupid one. And the reason I had problems with it because the lore and the world building made no sense to me. It was such a silly world, and I found the magic system to be incongruent. I found the lore and world building to be incongruent. I didn't understand the polytheistic universe, because it's like, okay, well, which one of these gods is the real one? Is there a real god? Okay, so what do they mean when they say God? You know, like, and that's the thing is, I at some point I actually just changed the entire nature of the story to be that in Waterdeep there was a tyrannical leader, quote unquote tyrannical, a tyrannical leader that was essentially creating a polytheism, you know, and you know, outlawing the other gods. And so the other gods were becoming less powerful, and there was just like this one Lord of Light. I copied a little bit of like a few ideas from C.S. Lewis's Ransom series, and that kind of helped me to frame some of the aspects of the Lord of Light, and at least give them a way of interacting with the players that didn't seem silly. Let's see. Oh yeah, thank you, Malachi. I got that you meant Game Master. I originally read it as Games Workshop, even though that is an M. That's like my dyslexic brain. Let's see. I think that as long as the players buy into the game world and play the game rather than telling me their opinions, I don't really care about their own religious or politics. Okay, no, that's fair. I suppose if I was playing in a game and someone had strangely veiled, I don't know, some sort of political message or even a religious message, yeah, I would find it a little bit ham-fisted. And that's one of the things I tried to keep in mind when I was running the Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition campaign that I was running a while ago. I was trying to tie aspects of it to my own religion, but not in a way that was like, okay, in this Dungeons and Dragons world there was a Jesus and he died on a cross. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Like, and so since that part of it gets hung up, there's really no reason to try and tether the rest of it. So I just kind of went like, look, there is good and there is evil in this world, and I more leaned into that idea. And the Lord of Light was a good god, but people had just forgotten about him, and then that was it. But I didn't like the idea of the polytheism, like the polytheistic system that is used in Dungeons and Dragons, because like I don't know, it doesn't make, like, their world building doesn't make sense to me. And when you read like the Waterdeep Dragon Heist book, it talks about some god named AO, and this god AO was like the most powerful of the gods, and like 500 years ago AO got like really mad at the other gods and like kicked them all out of like Olympus or something, whatever, the god heaven. So there was basically a bunch of gods that at some point in time, you know, for 300 or 400 years ago, who were just like normal people. Like they sucked, right? Like they pooped and ate food, and they were just normal people. They could get beat up at a bar, and then, you know, 100 years later, they get their powers back or something. And, you know, I felt it was weird. Like there are elves in this world that were adults when these gods fell down from earth and weren't gods. And I'm like, why would anyone worship these gods? I don't know. Unless we're saying like they're false gods. Like, you know, otherwise it just made no sense to me. And so I felt compelled to change it because it was just so stupid. But I understand what you mean, Toast to Jesus. It can be kind of a bummer when people throw their politics and their religion into the game and get real ham-fisted with it. It probably doesn't even serve their purposes well. But I think there is a really good way to tell a story to someone that reminds them that, you know, salvation is probably one of our favorite stories. You know, I mean, you can see that when you watch like Hollywood movies and stuff. They are constantly trying to do the the Jesus on the cross thing. You know, they got Superman doing it. They have Iron Man doing it. Like they're constantly trying to. And I don't think they're doing it because they appreciate it. I think they're doing it because they recognize it's a story that is archetypal, and it is in our bloodstream. Like we know that's a real story. And when we see, you know, Iron Man falling from outer space because he's like saving humanity from the Chitauri, there's something about that reaches into our very soul, because it's a real story, and we know it's a real story. Like whether we've lied to ourselves and told us it's not a real story or not, we know that there is truth in that story, and it pounds into you. You know, when you see it, and that's why we love those kind of stories where someone sacrifices themselves. So I really enjoyed when my son. Like my players in our recent Dragonbane campaign, they've been doing that so much. Like I don't know if it's just the party that they built or the way that I've been getting a little better at dungeon mastering. You know, I would consider it's probably a number of different things, but my players have gone from being murder hobos in a lot of our campaigns to where they're actually like nurturing to NPCs and stuff, and it's really rewarding having like an NPC group that I spend a bunch of time on, and like none of my players try and kill them. I'm like, oh, thank goodness, no one's trying to murder this NPC that okay. And sometimes I don't actually spend that much time, but whatever. Like, hey, it's the town baker. Don't roll him over. You know, just so. Anyways, that's been nice, and it's been cool to see the stories that come out of that as well. All right, this guy needs a little bit of glue. I busted up his little chain gun here. Oh. Yeah, I probably should. You know what? As I'm thinking about it, I probably should do these streams with my phone. I think at this point my phone actually has a better lens and light sensor on it than these like purchased cameras, like these cameras that are just cameras. Yeah, see, there it is. Like, as soon as I apply the glue on top of the paint, like I don't know how people do it. Like I don't know how you glue, but I see people painting stuff in stages, you know, where they don't put the thing all the way together, and they paint it in stages. And I don't know how you do that without melting all your paint. Because yeah, this is all right. That's not working. All right, I might not get to have as many bullets on this. Yeah, the paint also makes it like difficult to glue. Joshua, thank you. I appreciate that. And you're a youth pastor is SD San Diego? That sounds like San Diego. I like to think of religions in my D&D game as different denominations, which focus on different parts of Christianity, just as different denominations heavily emphasize some parts of Christianity and miss others. Interesting. I can understand that. Yeah, I'd be interested to hear you talk more about that, because like I don't really know. I don't know. I know what you mean by that, but I'm not sure how it manifests in the game. Like, I don't know how it goes from, oh, South Dakota. Okay. I don't know how it goes from premise to interactive, you know, like you have players that are kind of interacting with various sects or something in the game. This guy's got not very much skin on him at all. And then, yeah, I guess I'd have questions about how that works out, and like, is there a benefit to taking a side or that type of thing? So Toasted Jesus says, sure, Redemption is a great story. D&D 5th edition has a great story. Difficult to run, but the story is great. Descent into Avernus. Can the players redeem a fallen angel? Interesting. I've not played the Descent into Avernus. What has the angel fallen from, and why is the angel fallen? And then I guess my third question is, what is meant by angel? Because I mean, I know what angel means in our culture, you know, like a spiritual being, a being that is one with God in purpose and will. But when we come to like role-playing game systems, I don't generally know what we're talking about with many of these different creatures and stuff, right? Like, you can stick like a Cerberus in your game, and it doesn't necessarily mean it's like a hellhound, right? Like, you know, we could fight against a Cerberus, and it's in the game, and it's you know, the players are fighting this hellhound, but it's not guarding hell. It's just a mythological creature that has been kind of transposed. So anyways, yeah, there's a lot of times we get to those mythological type creatures, and I'm not meaning to call angels mythological, because, you know, I believe in angels, but you get the point. With a lot of these mythological creatures that get transposed into a fantasy game, it becomes difficult to mean, like, or to understand what do we mean by that thing. So are we just talking about like a kind of a powerful creature that also has wings, or are we talking about like Satan? Like, there's essentially a plot line in Dungeons and Dragons where you're trying to rescue Satan. Is that what you mean by fallen angel, or maybe they're like a demon or something? So yeah, I guess I don't know what we mean by angel and fallen angel, because again, if we're talking about D&D, like, fallen from what? Where was this like an angel that worshipped Odin, and then like it turned its back on Odin, so now it's like fallen? This would be one of the reasons why I have a difficult time with Dungeons and Dragons, because I tend to examine things maybe a little too much, to the point where, you know, if I don't understand it and it can't be explained to a way that I understand, I generally reject it. And so I do that. Like, so right now in our Dragonbane campaign, I don't have like any theological compunctions whatsoever in the game. You know, then some of that's because like I'm playing with my son and my wife. You know, we are Christian, but the rest of our friends and family are not, and I don't really want to use our game time as a time to proselytize to my players. I feel like that would be a betrayal of their trust and their sincere interest in our game. While I am interested in talking with my players about my faith, I try and make time for that other times when I can. All right, this guy's thumb is going to be like impossible to that's what I'm talking about. Like, I think I was supposed to put this guy together in stages, because there's just no way to get that thumb, and it bothers me it's not painted. I know it's not painted. I can't really see it though, so I'm gonna move on. Let's see. The angel was tempted to side with hell against the chaotic demons of the abyss. The angel was tempted to side with hell. See, I'm confused by that sentence already. Oh no, okay, hold on. Side with hell against the chaotic demons of the abyss. So hold on. Is hell part of the chaotic demons, or is hell separate from the demons? I'm trying to understand the power relationship between the demons and hell. Are the demons part of hell? Let's see. Remember that hell is lawful evil. The abyss is chaotic evil. Oh, okay, I see. All right, so she was tempted to side with hell. Also, angel is my term. She is a fallen planetar, okay, or a powerful servant of God. Okay, so, and that's another place where I have issue or create some umbrage between myself and the Dungeons and Dragons system. I don't believe that you can be lawful and evil at the same time. I think laws are put in place in order to guide people. If you're evil, there's no reason to follow the laws, right? Like evil people follow laws until there's a time not to, until you encounter a law that's not worth following anymore, and then you're immediately unlawful, right? Like, okay, if you're evil and you're okay with murder, but you don't steal, that doesn't mean you don't steal. That just means you haven't found a need to steal yet. Yeah, I don't know. I like that distinguishment between chaotic and lawful, and I find that to be very silly and incoherent. It requires like a lot of mental gymnastics for me to try and make sense of it. Let's see. Hell and the abyss are separate. Hell is angels that decided that committing war crimes was justified in the fight against the abyss. Interesting. Okay. Anyways, the point of the story was to see if players could understand that she needed to be redeemed, not destroyed, making it unique in D&D. Okay, that makes sense. I can understand the interest in a story like that, where you try and get players to not go murder hobo. I think that's fun. Hey Riker, how was your clinic time? Oh, it was good. Okay, all right. Thank you for telling me, buddy. He's trying to find my sentinel. Riker, I have a sentinel up here that I was using a few minutes ago. No, I'm not. My phone's not on it. All right, hang on. Let me fold it up. He likes my tripods, and he calls them sentinels. All right, are you gonna be okay? Are you gonna be good to this? Yes. Are you going to take it apart? No, don't steal my bracelet. No. Are you gonna take it apart? No. This one's harder to take apart, but last time you took all the bolts out of the other one. You can sleep. Leave it there. It's fine. Okay, you may play with it, but don't break it, please. Okay? Have fun. Well, let me get my water. Mommy's downstairs, buddy. She went out to go plug the lights up. Let's see. Anyways, good conversation. Oh, thank you. Thanks for talking with me. And thank you for explaining the situation that you had fun with in Dungeons and Dragons. Josh says, I just joined the Discord. Do you want to talk now or some other time? As in, would you like to talk now on this live stream with me? I'm fine with that if you want to do that. Or you're saying good night. Yeah, I'm fine with later. Fine with now. Yeah, I probably would finish up painting one or two of these guys, and we could chat. I guess I'm interested in asking you about, like, what is it you do with your church to interact with, like, tabletop games or whatever. But yeah, I mean, just let me know. No, keep painting off the screen. I definitely need to move this camera somewhere. There we go. Oh, I'm guessing you were saying goodnight to Toast to Jesus. Okay. Malachi, tell me a little more about your campaign that you ran with your wife. I got a little bit of it last night, but I was also distracted because Marshall and Bishop were trying to set up their characters and stuff. But I guess I'm interested to maybe it'd be better for you to explain it like in a phone call, because I probably do have like 10 questions. Yeah, okay, I'll give you a call and ask you about it. I'm interested what you liked and what you didn't like, but yeah, I think it'd be better to actually just talk in person, quote unquote person. I think I actually like the lighter green better. I mean, this guy looks fine, but I think I actually like the lighter green better. Yeah, so let's see. I could basically just switch this over to a discussion on Discord. See what I suppose, yeah, you know, I suppose I would end this stream and then start a new one. So so it could be like labeled right. Otherwise it'd be kind of convoluted. Let me think. Let me think of the questions that I have for you, and I'm probably going to ask you like 2 questions and never get to the other 6. But yeah, I have a few questions. Let me finish up this guy, and that will feel like an accomplishment in painting for today. I don't think I have the ability to fully pay attention to a conversation while I'm painting. I was going to try and play a tabletop RPG while doing it, but I'm fairly certain now that like when I paint, I'm half focused on painting and half focused on talking. So how was his time at clinic? Did he listen? Okay, good. Yeah, I think I'm gonna try and do this in the future just on my phone. I think the light sensor on this camera is now not as good as whatever iPhone I have, as this comes in, and it also my phone does a much better job focusing than this camera, which is so sad that like iPhones now have like a far more sturdy camera than cameras. I'm gonna call him done for now. All right. Let's see. So let me switch this back over. Okay, so here's my thought, Joshua. You can let me know what you think of it. I'm going to end this stream, wash this brush, get some water, and then maybe we'll have like an hour-long conversation. I'm gonna plan on trying to ask you like 6 questions, but we may not get through all 6 of them, just because of the way I tend to talk and the way I try and get other people to talk. So we'll see what happens. But like I do have questions about like how you work as a youth pastor with tabletop RPGs, because it is something I'm interested in trying to do. What do you think of that? Does that sound okay? And Maybe I'll finish this guy's shoulders for a proper sense of completion. And I guess if you have questions too, well, see, I'm gonna hope you don't have any questions, because I'm sure my 6 questions are gonna take the majority of the time to get to those. But well, I guess we'll see. Francois, how's it going? I'm almost finished up with my painting. I'm about to restart live streaming to have a discussion about playing tabletop RPGs at churches. All right, I feel satisfied it has done this. Anyway, so I'm going to end this stream, wash this brush, and then restart the stream again in just a moment. But it's gonna be like a Discord call, and Joshua and I are going to have a chat about how to start playing tabletop RPGs with like a church group or something. Like that's what I'm gonna get into. I'm gonna try to. So, all right, I'm gonna end it there. So God bless you guys, and I'll see you again in just a minute.